Your paycheck hits on Friday. By the next Friday, most of it is gone. You didn't buy anything you would call extravagant, so where did it actually go? You replay the month in your head. A few takeout dinners, that coffee on the way to work, a couple of things from Amazon you can't quite remember ordering. You add it all up and it doesn't come close to explaining the hole in your account, and yet the money is gone, the same way it was gone last month, and the month before that, and the month before that. Here's the part nobody tells you. This is not a discipline problem. It is a design problem. The reason your paycheck vanishes has almost nothing to do with the small purchases you feel guilty about, and almost everything to do with a handful of large, silent commitments you stopped noticing the day you signed up for them. Let's start with where your money actually goes. Every year, the Bureau of Labor Statistics runs something called the Consumer Expenditure Survey. It tracks, in real detail, how the average American household actually spends its money, not how people think they spend it, how they truly do. And the picture it paints is almost identical every single year. 3 categories eat most of your paycheck before you ever get to choose anything: housing, transportation, and a quiet third category of insurance, debt payments, and recurring bills. For the typical household, housing alone swallows roughly a third of everything that comes in. Add transportation, and you are already past half of your money gone before a single decision is made. These are what economists call fixed costs. A fixed cost is money that leaves your account whether you think about it or not, on a schedule you no longer control. Now compare that to the things you blame yourself for: the coffee, the takeout, the impulse buys. Those fall into a completely different bucket called discretionary spending, which simply means the spending you actively decide on each time. It feels enormous because you feel it happening. You are present for every $5 purchase. You watch the money leave. But the survey is brutally clear. Discretionary spending is the small slice. The meal are the fixed costs. So why do you keep blaming the coffee? Because the coffee is the part you can see. Back in the 1990s, a financial author named David Bach popularized an idea he called the latte factor, the notion that small daily purchases quietly drain your wealth over a lifetime. It became one of the most repeated pieces of money advice in America, and it stuck for a reason. It is emotionally satisfying. It hands you a villain you can defeat tomorrow morning. The trouble is that for most households, the math simply doesn't hold. Cutting a daily $5 habit saves you maybe $150 a month. Meanwhile, the rent that climbed $200 at renewal, or the car payment that grew by $120 when you upgraded, took far more than that, and you never felt it leave. That is the real mechanism, and it has a name. Economists call it lifestyle inflation, sometimes lifestyle creep. It works like this. You get a raise, your income goes up, and almost invisibly your fixed costs rise to match it. A slightly nicer apartment, a slightly newer car, a few more monthly subscriptions that each feel far too small to matter. None of it feels like a choice. It feels like simply living a normal life. But your expenses quietly expanded to fill the new space, the same way water fills whatever container you pour it into. There's a deeper reason your brain allows this. Psychologists call it hedonic adaptation, often described as the hedonic treadmill. It means that human beings adjust shockingly fast to a new level of comfort, and then treat that comfort as the baseline. The upgrade that thrilled you in month 1 becomes invisible by month 3, so you reach for the next one. The Nobel Prize-winning psychologist Daniel Kahneman spent much of his career studying how people actually experience money and satisfaction, and one of his findings is deeply uncomfortable. More money reliably raises your spending. It does not reliably raise your sense of having enough. You are running on a treadmill that speeds up every time you do, and it leaves you with almost no cushion. The Federal Reserve, in its work on the financial lives of American households, has found for years that a large share of people could not cover an unexpected expense of just a few $100s with cash on hand, not because they earn nothing, but because their fixed costs already claimed the paycheck before the emergency arrived. Let's make this concrete. Let's walk through exactly what happens to a real paycheck. Say you earn $50,000 a year. After taxes, your take-home pay, the money that actually lands in your account, is somewhere around $40,000. That's roughly $3,300 a month. Now watch where it goes before you make a single choice. Rent takes $1,100, your car payment and insurance together take $550, gas takes $180, phone, internet, and the stack of streaming and app subscriptions you forgot you were even paying for take $220, groceries take $450. Stop there for a second. Before you've bought one coffee, before one dinner out, before one single thing you would actually call fun, you've already spent $2,500. You have around $800 left for the entire rest of your life that month. And here's where it turns. Out of that $800, you have to handle everything that doesn't fit a neat category: a copay at the doctor, a surprise car repair, a birthday gift, a higher electric bill in July. By the time the discretionary spending you feel so guilty about even enters the picture, the paycheck is already nearly spoken for. The coffee didn't empty your account. The coffee was just the last thing standing when the music stopped. Now look closer at those subscriptions because they deserve their own moment. Each one was designed to feel painless: $9, $14, $6, each priced low enough that questioning it feels almost petty. But they don't arrive one at a time, they stack, and they renew automatically month after month, long after you stopped using half of them. A subscription is a fixed cost wearing the costume of a small purchase. That's exactly why it works on you. So here's the counterintuitive twist, the part that flips the entire problem upside down. Trying harder to cut the small stuff can actually make you worse off, because every ounce of willpower you spend policing $5 purchases is willpower you are not spending on the 2 or 3 large decisions that genuinely move the needle. You can white-knuckle your way out of a coffee habit, feel virtuous about it, and still be broke at the end of the month because you were fighting the wrong war the entire time. The household that quietly renegotiates one car decision, one housing decision, one insurance bill can free up more money in a single afternoon than a year of skipped lattes ever could. The leverage was never in the small choices, it was always sitting inside the big ones you treated as untouchable. So the question is not, where can I shave off a few dollars? The real question is, which of my fixed costs did I stop questioning? This is the insight behind one of the most durable budgeting frameworks ever written. In the book All You're Worth, Elizabeth Warren and Amelia Warren Tyagi argued that the health of your money comes down to keeping your fixed needs, your housing, your transportation, your true must-pays, inside a sane share of your income, so that the rest of your life isn't being strangled by commitments you no longer feel. Not by hunting pennies, by controlling the big containers. Look at the commitments that renew without you. Vanguard's research in its annual How America Saves report reveals a pattern that proves the whole point in reverse. When saving is made automatic, when money moves out of reach before you can feel it leave, people save far more, not because they suddenly became disciplined overnight, but because the system carried them. Your fixed costs work the exact same way, just pointed in the opposite direction. They drain you automatically and silently. The fix is to drag a few of them back into the light on purpose and decide whether they still deserve the space they take from you. Because that's what your paycheck really is. It is not a pile of money that you spend. It is a container that your fixed costs have quietly expanded to fill. And the small purchases you keep punishing yourself for were never the reason it ran dry. So look again at that month you couldn't explain. It was never the coffee.
It was the slow, silent creep of commitments you stopped seeing, each one too small to question on its own, all of them together more than enough to empty you by Friday. Your paycheck will hit again this Friday. By the next one, most of it will move the way it always moves, but this time you know the difference between the spending you feel and the spending that actually drains you. This time you know exactly where to look.